victory, but we'll see Bradley further back, having secured enough points, subject to a little check-in with the stewards to see which way it will go for his championship. But that is Calvin Wong, and I'm very happy Singapore Grand Prix. This is an official classification, Craig Bird. The winner, marginally improving on yesterday. Daryl Young falling foul and coming down to third place, but a fantastic support series. It's always so much fun and so much racing. This is the final classification, and over to Neil.
Mercedes power on the back. I see that they've got the new front wing configuration on Jensen's car. They had two front wings available for them going into this race, and on Jensen's car at least they've opted for the newer of those. 5 kilometres, 23 corners, incredibly busy racing track this one. Our coverage of course includes an awful lot of what goes on in the pit paddock and in the pit lane, and to help us get through all that we've got a couple of very able people down there in John Smales and Louise. Lou, what have you got?
Well, I'm down on the Red Bull pit wall on the Pratt perch, it's affectionately known in Formula 1, with Jonathan Wheatley, who is the Red Bull team manager. So he's in charge of all the guys in the garage, and in a few moments time all the guys heading out onto that grid. Just talk us through what's going to be going on as the boys head out to the grid.
Well, it's kind of like a well-rehearsed routine, you know. We've got 45 personnel who go to the grid, separate both cars. We've got to have all the tyres we need there in case it rains or if it's dry. We need all the equipment there to change those tyres. Take a few bits and pieces just in case we have some problems, but mainly should be a very calm 15 minutes for the guys.
There is a lot of equipment that goes out there, isn't there? I mean, you mentioned the tyres, but things like dry ice and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, these cars, they're quite fragile in some ways. They need to be kept at a certain temperature all the time, and they can't be too cold, they can't be too hot, and we spend a lot of time with a lot of equipment keeping them just at the right temperature.
Now, what are we expecting during the race in terms of the weather? Any rain forecast, or are you thinking it's going to stay dry?
Well, at the moment the forecast is that it's going to stay dry. We have spotters all around the track though to tell us if that would be a challenge.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Okay.
So Jonathan on the pit wall there down at Red Bull Racing, and had a look at the detailed forecast just in the last 30 minutes or so, and there's no forecast for any inclement weather this evening, but you never know. But he's hoping we get a dry Grand Prix, and that'll further add to the excitement, because really we've not had conditions that have been absolutely perfect throughout the weekend. All of the drivers have had to contend with slightly damp verges on occasion. Now we've got expertise in the box here in the form of Peter Windsor, and Bob Constanduris is going to be joining us very shortly as well. What we want to do is just fill in some of the blank details for you as we head into the race this evening, and this is qualifying one from last evening for Felipe Massa. Obviously a very difficult start. Gearbox problem with the Ferrari, so out of business, and he starts off the rear of the Spaniard, the dual world champion, who won here on the streets of Singapore in 2008, and there's three men that start at the front of the field. Now this is the flying lap, and a beautiful, so right at the very beginning of Q3, and let's enjoy this. This is the one down into turns 1, 2 and 3. It's still just a tiny little bit moist here and there on the fringes of the racetrack, but that doesn't appear as though it's going to be a problem for this evening. Turn 5, created a bit of havoc over the weekend. Quite a few people have found the wall on the outside there. Just on 300 kilometres an hour through the right-hand kink at turn 6, 7th gear. This area here has been resurfaced. It was very, very bumpy in the braking approach in previous years. Some drivers at the start of last year's race ended up on the wrong side of that curving at turn 7 and incurred penalties. 8, and then this left-hander at 9, the very fast run then up to the Singapore swing. They get back incredibly to 260 kilometres an hour. And then here you've got to try and pick the ideal line, what is a very narrow piece of racing track, through 11 and 12 and then to the Anderson Bridge. Super narrow. Two cars just do not fit through there at all. And then turn 13 right here is